Hi guys, welcome to my second YouTube video. This one is for my toys from the 70s and 80s. So let's start. The first you see is a Croft Super Show chalkboard. Now the Croft Super Show is from the 70s and it shows the characters, the popular characters, Captain Cool and the Kongs, Wonderbug, and Electro Woman and Dyna Girl. So what I also want to bring out is my Viewmaster film viewer. Now this little device, you can actually insert little round reels of film and you snap the side and it actually shows you like a 3D picture of whatever characters are on that reel. So it's a nifty little toy from the 70s, piece of nostalgia. Now moving on, we also have my video game collection. So the first one is a Pac-Man set. Now the reason why I love these so much is because of the design. Now as you can see, they look like smaller versions of the arcade size video game system. So which is pretty cool. This one actually I tested it and it did not work. But luckily the second one that I have, my Galaxian, actually does work and it powers on. So I'll just give you a quick example of the game. Which is awesome. Now actually they made about 3 other video games in this design. There was a Miss Pac-Man, a Donkey Kong, and a Frogger, which I don't have, which I hopefully one day I will have added to my collection. So aside from those, we have my Transformer, my actually Soundwave Decepticon toy. So unfortunately, this is the only Transformer toy that I have at the moment. But as you can see, Soundwave was a cassette player, and he also came with a little cassette that turned into a Condor. So it was a nifty little toy. And like I said, hopefully one day I'll be able to get Optimus Prime or Bumblebee or one of the other ones I used to have in the past. So moving right along to my Voltron collection. So I think one of the few Voltron toys that was released on the market was the smaller versions, which are the miniature robots, and these were made by Matchbox. So these you can't actually separate into lions. They're already Voltron is already formed in this. So it's a nice little die-cast metal Voltron, and if you turn it over, it gives you a picture of all the different Voltrons that they released at the time or they were going to release. Now, instead of calling this the Lion Voltron or this one here, the Car Voltron, they were all given different titles or different numbers. So this one is actually called Voltron 3. And actually on the flap, it gives you a little brief storyline for each of the Voltrons. Unfortunately, they never got around to releasing an American version or the English version of Voltron 2, which is called Albegus, and you can actually catch that on YouTube. Um, so then next they came the full-size Voltrons, which actually uh, have lions that you can build into Voltron. So maybe a year later or so, they redesigned the box, and then they changed the name to Lion Force Voltron, when previously it was called Voltron 3. So basically, the only thing that stays the same on the packaging is the Matchbox logo, and then it says from the TV series. So actually, the good thing about this box, or redesign, is that you're able to open the flap to reveal the lions that are inside, which is pretty cool. And I'll kind of pan over, and it also shows you the same artwork that's on the cover. Now, they did the same thing for the Vehicle Force Voltron, which this would be the miniature version. If you can get a good look, turn it around, has a storyline for all 3 Voltrons, gives you a peek at all the other Voltrons that are available. This is the full-size box, and so the vehicle Force Voltron was actually, or went by the name of Voltron 1, and then the later redesigned box, they renamed it Vehicle Team Voltron. And then you open the flap to reveal all 15 vehicles, and they look like they're in all pretty good condition. Then the inside flap has the cover artwork. Okay, so about a year after that, there's a Voltron released by M.A.S.K, but this Voltron actually has action figures to go along with it, so they can actually be inserted into the lions and interact or intermingle. So this is a box. Now, I'm not really crazy about the design by M.A.S.K. They were previously famous for doing Cabbage Patch plastic figurines or action figures, which I'm not crazy about. So if you look at the legs of this Voltron, you can see that they're different from the actual Matchbox design, which is more detailed, and they appear more like the cartoon. And the legs, you really can't move around too much. And then you can see these you can see like the legs or the openings of the metal parts, which, that in the cartoon, you don't see anything like that. So I'm going to flip the box around just to give you a picture of the action figures, which hopefully you can get a good look. They look kind of dull and kind of lumpy, not very detailed. They should have went with a company like Kenner, which made a lot of great looking action figures. They did Star Wars, and later they did M.A.S.K. Very detailed action figures that look like the cartoon. That's what a kid wants, is something that resembles the cartoon, of course. And then we have a few of the action figures that I was able to collect. This is the Panache Place version of Lance, and it comes with the collector's key. I'll turn it over to the back. It has a little storyline, a little collector's card. Then we have Commander Keith, who flew the Black Lion. And last we have Hunk, pilot of the Yellow Lion. Now, I believe I have all of the action figures, and I think that they're actually inside the lions. I can't really tell. I'll have to check on that later. And no packaging for that. Last of the Voltron collection, I want to kind of pan over to my Voltron Blazing Sword, which is a full-size plastic sword complete with packaging. So I'll try and get good as picture that I can. Anyway, so that's that. Okay, moving on to my M.A.S.K collection. I'll move pretty quickly. So this is the Vampire, which is actually on Team Venom, which is the bad side. This is a motorcycle that turns into a jet. And I have Iguana, which is like a doom buggy or some type of device or vehicle that turns into like a little tank. And it comes with the Venom Lester Sludge guy. Then we have Slingshot, which is like a RV that has a jet inside. Then we have Hurricane, one of my favorites, with the Hondo McLean action figure, which is one of my favorite vehicles and characters. Then we have Firefly, another favorite of mine, another like doom buggy type vehicle that turns into a jet with Julio Lopez action figure. Then we have like the signature Thunderhawk Camaro that turns into a jet with Matt Tracker, who's the leader of the M.A.S.K team, the good side. Then lastly, we have an action figure of his son, Scott Tracker, and his little robot T-Bob that actually transforms into a little scooter just by tapping the head down. He turns into a three-wheeler. So that concludes my vehicle. I hope you enjoyed it, and leave posts for me, and have a good one.